Hi there, this is Barbara again. I'm ready to share the next step in the process for you. And I told you what I was going to do next was varnish this piece, but in fact, as I look at it a little bit more closely, there are uneven layers of sheen to it. Some areas are a little bit more matte, and some areas are a little bit more shiny. And that happens with oil paints. That's fairly common. It has to do with the fact that the oil paint itself is a combination of pigment or color mixed with oils, and some of those pigments dry faster and some of them dry slower, and as they dry at different rates, sometimes that means that the oil gets absorbed to a higher degree or a lesser degree, therefore it's a little more or a little less shiny. So before I put the varnish on, I'm going to put an isolation coat on top of this piece to resolve that problem, and so it's fairly simple to do. What I do is, it's a process called oiling out, and I have mixed together a solution here that is just a medium, so it's 50% Galkid and 50% Gamsol that I have mixed together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a thin uniform coat over the entire painting. And what will happen is this will create an isolation layer that will make it all be uniformly sheen. So I want to make sure that I don't put too much on, just enough, but I want to make sure, I'm going to lean down a little bit and look at it from an angle, make sure I haven't missed any spots, and I have not. And so now what needs to happen is I'm going to let it sit for 2 minutes, and that will let it really bond to that surface and begin to adhere to it a little bit. And then I will come back with a clean lint-free cloth and I will wipe all the excess off, and then it'll just have to dry, and once it's dry to the surface again, then we can put the actual varnish layer on. But I wanted you to see this and understand why I was doing it, so that's what's going to happen now. Okay, here we are back now. It's been about 2 minutes, so that's had long enough to set into the surface. It was important that the paint be dry before I do this so that I won't lift the paint off accidentally when I do this, but I'm just going to take this cloth now, as you can see, and just gently buff all the excess moisture back out of that layer that I have just laid on top. I like to buff in a nice gentle little circular buffing pattern just to keep things nice and smooth and even. And because I have cats and dogs in my house, I have to always watch and check that I haven't accidentally incorporated any dog or cat hair into these layers, because it'll get set once they dry. So check that real good. Yep, that looks good. And that will even out those uneven tones when it dries. It'll be a nice, uniform, even sheen and ready for a coat of varnish. So there you go. Thanks, I hope you found this interesting, helpful, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.